Kiwi Rails, how do you see, it might surprise people that NZTA is the regulator, but it makes a lot of sense for the rail safety team. How do you find working with the rail safety regulation team? Do you think that they have sufficient knowledge? They have the expertise that goes back, in some cases, to locomotive licensing? I'd be interested to hear how you feel about that.
It looks like somebody was very keen to answer.
No, that's absolutely fine. I mean, the NZTA rail regulation and NZTA, the funder, it is in a way a slightly odd coexistence within the one organisation. They manage that separation extremely professionally. We work with them. We have strong conversations with them on occasion. Mm-hmm. There are people within there who have deep rail knowledge who we respect and have those discussions. The relationship between a regulator and an operator has always got to be slightly arm's length, and I think it's appropriate.
So, I mean, you guys, being the largest rail operator in New Zealand, you have some knowledge and ability to deal with the regulatory team. Do you think that someone who's operating, say, a small business for tourism purposes on a line that's not used by anybody else should be facing the same hurdles that you are? Say, one of the groups in New Zealand that do tours on no longer used rail lines, they should be facing the same level of regulation.
That's an interesting question. On the issue of safety, yes, the answer is precisely the same sort of restrictions on safety. But on other issues, well, now you're talking about a political decision on charge to this or returns to the state. And those are ideas that obviously a forward-looking government would be prepared to consider, because you want to use the utilities that are there to the max if you can.
Yeah.
Because if you can take people from on a tourism venture, you're taking somebody who's there for a break and holiday, but you also bring commerce with them because they become patrons and customers and clients in small towns or in holiday areas. So yeah, I think we've got to have a very open mind about that.
It's good to hear you say that, Winston, in supporting the regions that you do.
Can I add to that? The one other thing you've got to remember is that lines like Glenbrook, Wicked Pass, Dunedin Rail, actually for periods of the year carry more passengers than Kiwi Rail carries. And so you have got the same number or increased numbers, and they require the same sort of safety as running on a main trunk line.
Yeah.
And so
the question's about the ability of smaller companies to be able to resource that, but that's fine. The other question that I had, do you feel that Railways is a good partner when negotiating new amounts for license to occupy land? That's land that a farmer or a business owner or even a council is having to manage or look after next to the railway line?
Yeah, I believe that we are. We are required to take a commercial approach to our land holdings and earn revenue from that. We have a number of leases. The bulk of our leases are close to grace and favour, very low rental, just occupy a bit of the corridor. Mm-hmm. But it takes some management to do it. When it is a fully commercial lease for a piece of for an area of land which could be used for other things, I think we're entitled to charge a commercial rent.
Of course, and you should. But how do you measure what you're doing? How do you compare it? What sort of policies have you got in place to make sure that is a fair commercial rate?
I guess it's a market, and it's a competitive market. People either pay it or they don't.
It's often not a competitive market. We're talking about a piece of land that's isolated behind another piece of land. Often there's only one potential leaser. So what's the sort of process in place to manage that?
Well, the counterfactual is if we aren't able to lease it, we don't get the income. So we've got the incentive to reach an agreement as well.
We are at time. Thank you very much for answering all the questions.
You know, one thing I've just realised?
What?
We've been watching it at normal speed.
Oh, I'm okay with that. Gives me time to write notes.
Yeah.
I mean, how does chat feel about going at normal speed? I personally like it because, again, I can write notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so I don't know exactly what Cameron Luxon is asking for. Does he want private small rail that sometimes carries more passengers based on tourism, right, than main
Yeah.
rail? Does he want them to pay less in terms of commercial
I don't know. Or does he want Kiwi-Rail to charge more to get more money in that isn't from the state?
I'm not quite. I don't know what he wants, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
It's like this is the problem. Like they say, deregulate, and I was like, deregulate what? Safety requirements? I hope not.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Like what are we talking about here?
yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. It's really, really weird.
Oh, it looks like people prefer normal speed. All right, okay. Well, no complaints
Well,
from me.
that'll only be for tonight. Once we get back to Sunday, I'll remember to switch it back up to 1.5.
Yes, well,
Because we'll try and cover more footage in the shorter space of time. So, since no one knows who this guy is, let's get to find out more about this guy called Chris Pink.